Welcome to EconomicZ101, the podcast made for Gen Z by Gen Z, bridging the gap between economics, finance, current events, and our generations, with speakers Vish, Ritam, Sinan, and myself. Today, we're going to be talking about our second installment on cryptocurrency. Over the last 10 years, this online market has been taking over the world. Popular cryptocurrencies have been spoken on by billionaires like Mark Cuban and tech icons like Elon Musk. Due to their decentralized nature and secure market, it creates a sensation that's a sleeping giant in the commercial market. Today, we'll be covering the second part, talking about legality, regulation, and tips for investing as young students. To begin with, let's open our progressive discourse by talking about the legality and the situation on cryptocurrency. Obviously, with the history of crypto beginning as a decentralized currency, there have been many scares and situations where people have not gotten their money back from the investments that they have made, but there have also been situations where people have made tons of money, but prominence by Bitcoins surmise and rise in the late decade. Today, we're talking about the initial laws on crypto, how it is regulated in the beginning, and we'll open up discussion to now.
Well, there really is no regulation for it. With the blockchain system, you can track all of the different interactions on that, like with the cryptocurrency. But the reason that it's so popular is that it's decentralized, as you said, and you can't really track who's doing what, and it's very difficult to incriminate people if they do something illegal with cryptocurrency.
It's kind of weird in a sense, like because it's so unregulated and it's a new market. Something like this happening with the stock market would be absolutely unprecedented. If there were to be any possible negative scares or possible illicit activities, as opposed to cryptocurrency with the stock market, these people would be relegated to prison for life. It's quite different between the legality between the two, and although it's not the same, in which the process of opening a coin or opening a stock are different, or the process of cashing in and out are different, it's quite similar in its money-making nature. What's interesting though, and Vish, you can probably add context to that, FinCEN, which was a group, they actually proposed new rules aimed at cryptocurrency money laundering in December of 2020, this past year. But a lot of these rules were rejected by not so progressive countries in the world and kind of upheld by strong countries where rules and regulation are held to a high level.
The issue with regulation and why a lot of regulation isn't being passed is because when you add more regulation to a cryptocurrency, it causes less people to invest in it, and then it becomes less popular. So then the price goes down and it basically becomes almost useless. And so then it's kind of difficult for countries to try and regulate it, because if they try to add some sort of restrictions, people will just leave it.
Like they'll just bounce to another currency that's not as regulated.
Not necessarily a currency, it's just the people in that country can't really use it at all.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry about that, but is there a reason why people would rather choose crypto over stuff like stocks and so on? Is it because of the regulation, or is there more factors behind that?
It's mainly the fact that you can't really track who's doing what with the cryptocurrency, because it's all anonymous and it's not regulated by the government. So that's why it's really popular for criminal organizations or, like Mihir said before, illicit activity.
So, I was just wondering why a lot of these countries, they ban cryptocurrency. Is there a specific reason why? I know some countries like, Egypt, Bolivia, and Algeria. I know there's a lot more, but is there a reason why those?
There's a lot, like countries like those have certain restrictions on their citizens. Obviously, in America, we have freedoms that a lot of other countries might not grant access to their citizens. So just in that sense, in general, having a decentralized form of money is just looked down upon, right? as like countries like that, they want total control. They don't want like autonomous actions, especially with like their economy. So that's why like countries like China, and as you said, like they'll just completely ban it. So it's not even like an acceptable form of currency.
I mean, even countries that aren't really controlling over their citizen, it's still a threat because it's not regulated by the government. So people can do whatever they want with cryptocurrency. And there's many scams that have happened in the past as well.
Good segue into the Silk Road. What happened in the dark web marketplace known as the Silk Road? At the beginning of this past decade, in 2011 to 2013, it was essentially a marketplace for illicit activities like drugs, forged docs, and ransomware. And it was used to use Bitcoin as a means of payment in order to hide user identities. Ross Ulbricht, its founder, was convicted in 2015. One of the very few in comparison to stock convictions on charges of narcotics distributions and money laundering. What's really interesting, there is known to be so much connection between cryptocurrency and illicit activities in the eyes of whether it be conservative financial advisors or just entrepreneurial thought and discourse in North America. For example, Wall Street doesn't really like cryptocurrency, and part of that reason is its volatility and how new it is into the game and how a lot of weird stuff can happen. Countries like the United Kingdom, as of the beginning of our 2021, all cryptocurrency firms, in drastic difference to how the US works, require advisors and professionals to either have a presence or market a product in the Financial Conduct Authority registered in the UK market. It's an apprehensive measure, but I think I completely agree with Vish, the fact that it is risky and preventative measures and regulation are needed.
I mean, I was just wondering, if this is so highly volatile, how did like cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin rise so high? Currently my parents, they own exactly $1 in Bitcoin, and it's currently now at 84 cents. But if it's still normalized, why is it still, popular to a sense?
Part of the reason is Bitcoin is a hype coin. Even though there's thousands of people that mine Bitcoin, and we talked about how sustainable this was in our last podcast. It's interesting to see because Bitcoin has been hailed as the front piece, the savior for cryptocurrency over the past decade, and that's what people invest in when they get into it. Obviously there's been a big dip in the past year. Bitcoin has gone from above $60,000 to dipping under 30,000 on points of this year, and it's extremely volatile in the sense that some people think it's going to 100 grand, some people think crypto is just coming to fall, and in the sense you can't really predict it with market trends and with the same accuracy as you can to regulated markets that function in sectors like certain stocks. Vish, you're saying?
I was gonna say that Ritam was asking why people, even though it's like unregulated and it's very risky to invest into, why people get involved with it, because many times influencers or very famous people get involved into cryptocurrency, such as way back in the beginning of the pandemic or somewhere around that time when Elon Musk invested I don't even remember how much money. It was he invested like a boatload of money into Bitcoin, and then the prices just shot up after that. So then that obviously would bring more people to invest into it because they see someone like Elon Musk putting this much money into Bitcoin. And then that would allow people, since people would see him doing it, it'll drive up the price even more because more people would want to invest in it.
I mean, for especially in Elon Musk's position, I mean, I know he did kind of the opposite after that, and he tweeted out against using cryptocurrency as it affected fossil fuels around the world. So then actually that's what caused Bitcoin to dip in its value. But regardless, there's just a lot of factors that go into it. when you think of cryptocurrency, what's like the first currency you think of? Like it has to be Bitcoin, right? Like when I was first introduced to cryptocurrency, that's like the number one thing you're thinking of. So a lot of like new people in this market, like that's like their first go-to type of currency to invest in. And also like as Vish said, different influencers and different like even current events. There's always like multiple things that always help fluctuates the price or the value of Bitcoin, you know?
I mean, when you said that you think of Bitcoin whenever someone mentions cryptocurrency, I kind of think of Dogecoin instead.
So the thing with that is like Bitcoin and Dogecoin, there's despite being like two popular types of cryptocurrencies, they're very different. For instance, Dogecoin, it's filled with like a bunch of people that just tend to pump the price up. There's like no holding back with that. It's kind of like a meme type of currency, bro. Like anything goes. There's not like any regulation whatsoever, and it's just like its intentions like behind like just pumping up price for the currency. They're a bit like scummy. There's no like clear goal for what they want to do. Whereas for Bitcoin, it's like a more popular and obviously like not super regulated, but it has like some stableness when it comes to like the crypto world. So there's like although those two are big, there's like a lot of differences between those two.
I completely agree with your position, Sanan. In fact, with influencers, and like I can't even put influencers in the same market because I'll talk about them in a bit. But tech icons, the richest man on earth, Elon Musk, with one tweet, he can generate thousands, hundreds of thousands of revenue towards a certain crypto that he likes. With financial advice being strictly banned for things like stocks, you can't have that kind of situation with crypto. And I find it frankly really weird and disingenuous that a person with who holds the largest amount of assets on earth still feels the need to do those kinds of things. And it's really disingenuous in my opinion. It kind of cheapens the value of cryptocurrency, and as it progresses to a point where they want to compete with the stocks in the sense that it's a legitimate form of money, things like Dogecoin and a bunch of other rubbish coins, they kind of hit at what this currency is meant to be.
Okay, so I mean, when it comes to Dogecoin, I feel as though that our family itself has suffered its repercussions from it. Back, I believe, the day before Elon Musk posted his SNL thing, we invested 1K into Dogecoin. 1K. And today, it's, I believe, at around $250. We lost that amount of money in that short amount of time. And I just believe that the volatility of this cryptocurrency was the reason why my parents don't really want to invest in cryptocurrency anymore.
Yeah,
and
like,
I think that's justified.
Yeah, like as I was saying, things like Dogecoin, like rubbish coins that me here pointing out, they're like super unreliable because literally anything goes for those things.
I think part of the fact is with the prominence of things like Dogecoin, a lot of unknowledgeable minds started flooding in to the crypto scene, and as a result revenue increased, but as a result a lot of people also lost, and a lot of people got their rugs pulled out from the feet of them. A situation like this actually happening very recently with the popular gaming organization Face Clan. Recently, with cryptocurrency, I can set a preface to the situation. A lot of cryptocurrency, as it's backed like by absolutely nothing, developers can make these cryptocurrencies and get influencers on board, like YouTubers, streamers of the sort, who have a fan base and probably not that educated of a fan base, to come in and promote them using tweets or a video saying, hey, look at my new coin, the moon token. I believe this coin will go to the moon. It's going to be one of the best new cryptocurrencies of 2021, and I think we should all invest. And what ends up happening in a lot of situations is, since cryptocurrency is unregulated, a lot of these influencers with their private crypto wallets, they end up having a large portion at the ICO, or which is the initial coin offering that we covered in our last podcast. and in cahoots with the developers of the coin. They have a large percentage of the actual coin, and they end up selling large amounts of it just a few hours or in the first day of after the coin opens, which ends up being a pump and dump and ends up screwing up over a majority of their fan base, making them lose thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's extremely scummy, and it takes advantage of people that don't really know what's going on. And
Wait,
that's the what's up?
Isn't there like a 24-hour wait? Like once you like first put the initial like amount of money, don't you have to like wait 20 at least 24 hours
Exactly.
until you sell the thing?
What happened? Funny that you brought this up. What actually happens with the phase save the coin controversy is extremely weird and just scummy all around. With thousands of people being scammed, a lot of influencers like FaZe K, who got kicked out of FaZe, Tico, Nikon, a lot of these people, they promoted the Save the Coin, which is a charity coin for hospitalized children in North America. It was essentially set up to be a cryptocurrency to help out people, and the influencers would kind of market themselves with that. So this wasn't set up to be a profitable situation in the beginning. With these, the 24-hour thing that you mentioned, Sinan, it's called a whale mechanic. So in order to prevent pump and dumps and these rug pulls that happen in cryptocurrency where fan bases are scammed out of hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's a 24-hour whale mechanic which prevents large holders of a coin to sell a certain large percentage of their holdings early after the ICO opens. With this, it prevents and gives preventative measures to the holders, the minority holders, like your fans that are buying the coin, and lets them be safe from rug pulls and not lets their money be completely destroyed. What actually happened in a Save the Coin, not only being a charity coin which focused on the benevolence and taking advantage of your young, impressionable fan base, they programmed the developers in cahoots with the owners and managers of the coin. They've removed the whale mechanic, taking the only defensive mechanism away and creating a system where the large holders of a coin, like these FaZe Ks, these Ticos, the Nikons, they could sell immediately. And that's what ended up happening.
Jeez,
So
yeah.
these people like K, who has now been kicked out of FaZe, whose net worth is well above $5 million, had made hundreds of thousands of dollars scamming his fan base of many coins. But Save the Kids was the cherry on top, with him selling his entire liquidity and everything within 4 hours of the coin opening, scamming his fan base.
So like once he sold like his proportions and saved the children, like that basically just diminishes the value of the currency, like just like that, because like once he sells everything or whatever he holds, then like the value of the crypto would just diminish. So people that are trying to invest in that, it's kind of like it's not as valuable as when he had that much.
Yeah,
exactly.
like going back to how cryptocurrencies are so volatile, like with stocks you have hedge funds, right? And they can drive up prices and drop prices. But now you have with cryptocurrencies, an influencer can act as a hedge fund, or not really. Like comparing them is kind of like it's a stretch, but still, you like a one person can drive and like completely drop the price of a cryptocurrency and like scam people so much easier than as if this were stocks, because stocks are regulated by the government. But then cryptocurrencies, there's no regulation by the government, at least. So
yeah, like even
people
at
can
that,
do whatever.
Yeah, like even at that, like they literally removed the 24-hour like restriction, and then he sold all his equities in just 4 hours. So that just goes to show like how like even though some people like might want to get into crypto, it's like really you have to be really careful with like how much you're investing in, like what you're investing in. There's like a lot of factors that you have to like really take into account before you have a good handle on cryptocurrencies, and like how you want to like spend your money on that.
I feel like the worst part of this entire, phase thing was the fact that their audience is 10-year-olds, like not even 10-year-olds, way younger too. They're an impressionable audience. So you can imagine that they're promoting this coin and they're being like, Mom, Dad, let's invest in this. Not only are we going to learn about investing, we're also going to be saving the children. And just to see all go down just for their own financial gain, it's sickening. It just is.
I mean, I completely agree. It's like actually disgusting. And what ended up happening, as Sinan, you were talking about how the value decreased. Within a day, Save the Kids basically died. The cryptocurrency was out. These influencers, they took their money, scammed their impressionable fans, and went on. And what ended up happening, actually, a bunch of investigators have gone into the situation, made videos surrounding and covering the input, and these people have been removed from their organization phase because of their illicit activities or not illicit, and now they're going to be taken to court. So hopefully we can see something out of it. But as we're taking a takeaway from Save the Kids and this cryptocurrency in general, cryptocurrency needs to be regulated. It's a market that fosters illicit activities, whether it comes from the origins of cryptocurrency with the Silk Road, as we had mentioned before, or now we're influencers, just mere YouTubers. Imagine your kids or a high schooler just watching their favorite creator, and now they're promoting a potentially damning scam for their fans. It's extremely disgusting, and it allows for a lot of dangerous activities to happen at a accessible market at a high rate.
See, but the issue with that is when, like I said before, like when people try to regulate cryptocurrency, people aren't as invested in it, and it becomes less popular, and people just don't care. And then when the reason cryptocurrencies are even able to be used as a form of currency is because many people are involved, right? So when countries try to regulate it, it ends up the prices of these cryptocurrencies end up falling because an entire nation can't be involved anymore, like in countries where it's banned. So it's kind of difficult for it to be in use and regulated at the same time. So I don't really know how the future of cryptocurrency is looking, because I agree with you, it definitely needs to be regulated, but then how popular will it be when it's regulated? So
I mean, there's been some discourse on the topic, but the issue is policymakers and lobbyists in different states have different interests, which lead to different policies and different votes. With the two-party system in America, polar opinions are held on both ends of the spectrum, and unity is hard to come by, whether it be in progressive policy or discourse surrounding things such as immigration. And that boils down to things like crypto as well. There's been a lot of advisors, people like Janet Yellen, who have tried to figure out ways to successfully prevent money laundering and regulate crypto. But the thing is, you have to get policymakers and politicians to agree on this sort of thing, and that stuff is far, far away.
But I'm just saying, by regulating Bitcoin, doesn't that remove like the overall the appeal of Bitcoin compared to
Exactly.
if it's being a lot more regulated, why don't I just invest in stocks instead, right? Isn't that a lot more safer?
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like when it's regulated, people lose interest.
Here's my point to that. At the beginning of cryptocurrency, let's say it was regulated early in its birth, you could make that point, but I'd argue that there is way too much money in cryptocurrency now for people to be pulling out and moving to stocks. There's a reason why cryptocurrency is more popular in the influencer market, while and mega billionaires like Elon Musk can shamelessly promote cryptocurrencies. They can't do that kind of stuff with stocks. Cryptocurrency is such easy money for a lot of people, and it's extremely risky for majority of the audience. I don't think with the price that Bitcoin is at, the price that Ethereum is at, a lot of these cryptocurrencies that have emerged over the latter half of the past decade, that people can just pull out as easy.
See, that's also another issue I was reading about recently. Even if people, one of the things that the US is scared about is even if they try to regulate Bitcoin with Biden's entrance into the White House, they've been also discussing what they're going to do about cryptocurrency, right? So, but people are worried that people might not even follow regulation, since a lot of the activities with cryptocurrency are illegal in the first place, many people would just ignore regulations that are put into place because, like you said, there's so much money in it already. Like, so if people, even if there's regulation, a lot of people might not even follow it. So that's another thing that people are worried about as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's part of it.
like there's just too much influence, like there's just too much money and influence into like cryptocurrency to just completely negate what like not regulating it. You know what I'm saying? Because like as of like mid-July of this year, 2021, like Bitcoin has almost $600 billion in market capitalization. Ethereum are like a little over 200 billion. Like you can't just say, okay, yeah, let's why don't we just go back to stocks, because there's already so much invested in these things. You can't really go anywhere with like just trying to switch over.
I mean, currently I'm thinking right now, isn't Bitcoin also slowly diminishing? Like, didn't it go at a constant decrease, or am I wrong about that? Can someone confirm?
That's also part of the volatility of cryptocurrency. Bitcoin had dropped under 30 grand this year, as I had mentioned before. But stuff like this has happened before. Bitcoin has crashed and it has reemerged. So, and it's not as simple as stocks. Like let's say I'm monitoring a stock in the big pharma, talking about vaccines. With the COVID-19 pandemic ensuing, let's say March of 2020, last year, when it had started gotten serious in North America, investing in those kinds of stocks and in that market is just more knowledgeable, because you know there's a lot of revenue that's going to be flowing there. Those kinds of trends are easy to see. But with crypto, when you have miners from all around the world just bringing up from their blockchains, I mean, it's not as easy to separate and make those distinctions.
So now that like we have like a general idea of like how risky like investing large amounts of money into cryptocurrencies can be, like if we want like a younger audience to like at least have some sort of idea of like what the market's like, how you can start investing tiny amounts of money, like where do you think like we would start? Because I know like obviously we talked about how scummy like rubbish coins or rubbish crypto you said like it can be, but there's also, like as you said, people make profits from it. Like it's not all completely just gone to waste, right? So like what's like a good place to start, especially for like younger audiences in Gen Z?
All right, so that's something I can answer. The thing about this is that it's not that hard to start investing in both, stocks and even cryptocurrency. A lot of apps like Cash App and Venmo, and I believe Robinhood now, they accept trades for cryptocurrency as little as $1. The thing about that is that since you're under 18, you really can't invest in this. But with their parents' permission, you can set up an account under their name and everything, and you can invest money. But the biggest issue about that is, since it's so volatile, you don't really want to invest so much. You don't want to invest your life savings, obviously. But what you could do instead is invest like very little amount of money that you're willing to lose in order to see where it takes off. Maybe just, see based on the trends and so on.
That's a great point. Being careful with your money and understanding that investments only go as far as profit in the eyes when you take it out. When you're putting in money, I like to think of it as you lost that money already. You cannot gamble with money that you cannot you cannot afford to lose. When you're investing, put yourself in a comfortable situation. And as we are members of Gen Z, with our progressive ideals, and we're trying to figure out how to move through and make our bag as we're growing up, also be careful that we're not getting too caught up in the risk and hype of cryptocurrency, and make sure that we can handle this wave.
Yeah, like these currencies shouldn't be the thing that's like paying our bills, it's more of like a smaller investment that we should be worrying about.
I think we covered majority of our discourse today about legality, regulation, and investing for our generation. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I know we've been gone a while. I think 2 months to be exact, but in 3 days we'll have another pod up for you guys. 3 more days, and we're going to be talking about the U.S. government's reaction to COVID-19 and how it's prospered and functioned through different administrations between Trump and Biden. We're really thankful for you guys visiting, and very soon we'll be having guest interviews. So stick around for that. I'm here, and our speakers Vish, Ritam, and Sinan, and thank you so much for listening today. Goodbye.
See you guys.
See you
Bye.
guys.